Here, Zeke, let's give everybody a look at that beautiful face of yours. There, that way everybody knows that you're live there, Zeke. Hey, Zeke, welcome. Let's put a note in here for everybody. Happy Saturday. Oops. Join me while I stretch, play, do a few weights, and answer your questions. Anything you want. There. Just welcome everybody this morning. Howdy, howdy. A YouNow person is watching. Oh, that's good. Good morning. Hey, we're just going to get started this morning doing some warm-ups and some stretches. I think I need to work on the lighting a little bit better here. We'll turn that one on, and we will kill the backlighting. Well, somewhere. Here we go. That probably doesn't help. There. That should probably be a whole heck of a lot better, although that's still pretty darn dark with that camera. Huh, you guys. Still think that's kind of dark. Here, let's see if we can get it a little bit better. Is that better? A little better, I think. Yeah, not perfect, but then again, you don't need to see my ugly mug all that much. Morning, you guys. It's National Red Day. Woo! Anybody have any clue what National Red Day is? Anybody want to guess? Take your pick. Who wants to guess what National Red Day is? See if anybody can figure out why it is National Red Day. You know, I think I might try and switch cameras, you guys, and see if I have a better. What do you guys think? Should I trying a different camera? Hey, Musk. I was gonna try the other camera here, but I guess this will work. Really don't need to see my ugly mug that clearly, you guys. Although you can say hi, good morning to Zeke. We have the doggy cam going here. Zeke and Zoe. Hey, Zachary. Zach, come here. Come say hi to everybody. Come here. Oh, you're a lazy bum. Lazy bum, huh? Say good morning, everybody. Say morning, everybody. How is everybody doing? Say hi. Everybody say hi to Zeke. Big baby. Okay, you guys, hit me up on any questions you've got. I am going to be doing some stretching, you guys. Get this day going. It is National Wear Red Day. Does anybody want to try and guess what that's all about before I explain it? And you know I will. Huh? Anybody want to guess? National Red Day? Come on, somebody try and figure it out. Somebody make a guess somehow, somewhere, some way. Say, all right, Brad, what the heck is National Red Day? Here, let's put the, make sure you guys get a good look at the Mr. Heavy picture. There. Now, you guys still see clearly? I need to pull it up a little bit. Yeah, that's the problem when you don't have your own engineers. Don't got your own audio video engineers or your technical engineers to help with any of these things. You just have to do it yourself. Anyhow, welcome. Happy Saturday, you guys. February 3rd. It is National Wear Red Day. What that's all about? Well, if you Google it, you'll find out, but I'll tell you right now. National Wear Red Day is awareness for coronary arterial disease in ladies, in women. It is a big problem. I mean, it's still the leading killer of pretty much everybody. You know, coronary arterial disease kills all of us. It's the leading cause of death in America still, and of course, the most preventable. This morning I posted an article about this lady who's 40 years old, just 40, but she suffered 3 heart attacks. She was in shape. We're not talking somebody who's out of shape. This lady was in shape, she exercised, but what she was unaware of is that she had the plaque building up in her arteries. And actually, she had her main artery, which we call the widowmaker, her main artery was 99% blocked with plaque, arterial sclerosis. So even though she wasn't heavy, she wasn't obese or heavy, you know, then her heart was still full of the plaque, of the cholesterol, the fats, the lipids, all of the things that build up on the inside of the artery walls. So today is National Wear Red Day in honor and awareness, especially that ladies, you have a very high incidence of heart attacks. You know, for some reason, the incidence of heart attacks in ladies has been increasing. And that's, I'm sure, a lot to do with our diet. You know, as a society, our diet needs a lot to be improved. Anyhow, so if anybody has any questions today, hit me up. That's what I'm here for. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and get my morning routine done. I've got to get some stretching accomplished, and I got to get some weights going. Hey, Mercur, what's going on? Vera Ceramics. Ooh, hey, Vera, you do good ceramics. I want to see them. I love good ceramics. Steph, what's going on? Fan wall. Illegal. I love that. Just the way you put it. Illegal. Anyhow, if you're sitting down, get up, stretch with me. Last thing you want to do is to spend your entire day sitting. Being sedentary is one of the easiest ways to help put on weight. So the more time you can spend off your butt, the better. So until somebody hits me up with a question I can start answering, I'm just going to get going on doing some stretches. You guys can join me. We're going to start by touching the ceiling. I want you to reach up as high as you possibly can. So let's go. I'm not going to count these. We're just going to do these as long as it feels good. Until we decide we're going to switch over and maybe do some toe touching. How many people out there are currently trying to follow up on New Year's resolutions? I'd be curious. It's February 3rd. Are you guys sticking with your New Year's resolutions? Anybody? I want to know. As high as you can possibly reach, you guys. Waiting for questions. Hit me up. Challenge me. Remember, there's no such thing as a dumb question, you guys. Hey, Lawrence, what's going on? Seriously, it doesn't have to be questions on personal training. It doesn't have to be questions on health coaching. I don't care what you have a question on. Hit me. As long as you've got something that I can talk to you about, I'm more than happy to cover it. If you want to do something interesting, pick a number between 1 and 80. I got 80 chapters in Pushing Double Nickels, 80 chapters in my book. So if you pick a number between 1 and 80, I'll just look up what that chapter is and we can talk about that. Otherwise, if you want to talk about weight loss, quitting smoking, emotional eating, diabetes, managing chronic pain, or those of you out there who, like me, have to live on freaking pain medication for back issues. 1 out of 3 Americans have lower back pain, you guys. 1 out of 3 of us. So I know I'm not alone. So anybody out there dealing with issues with chronic pain, if you've been diagnosed recently with prediabetes, if you know you're on that prediabetes list, those of you that watch me regularly know that I start getting on my soapbox when it comes to the diabetes issue. That's an epidemic. You know, we have several epidemics happening in America right now. Several epidemics. first and foremost is the obesity epidemic. And remember, I got caught up in that. That was me. I was 50 pounds heavier than this at one point. So this was just over 200 pounds. And I was at 252 pounds. I know we have an obesity epidemic happening right now. 2/3 of America. 2/3 of America. We're either overweight or we're out of shape. You know, well, overweight or obese, let's put it that way. There's a 67% of Americans right now are carrying too much weight. I was a 38% BMI. You know, if you don't know what your BMI is, you need to find out. It's extremely important. You can look it up very easily going on the CDC website and find out yourself. I'll make sure you guys are getting a good. Hit me up with any questions you got, though, because seriously, the more time you spend sitting, the more time you're not moving, the more time you're adding on weight, adding on calories, the less time your metabolism has to burn off calories when you're sitting. Being sedentary, and that is the big catch-all for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're sitting on the job, if you're sitting at home, sitting in your car in traffic. We spend way too many hours as a society being sedentary, just sitting. And eventually it comes around and it helps you gain weight. It helps really increase lordosis, which is one of the three main issues with back. You know the three of them very easily. You may not know their names. Kyphosis is hunchback, you know, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Scoliosis, you're familiar with, you've heard about it, where the spine curves laterally either in an S or a C. I have mild scoliosis, a C curve. And then lordosis. And lordosis is very simply, well, picture an old mare, an old horse that has that big U in their back. That's lordosis, that's swayback. That's where the spine is curving forwards towards the stomach. And that happens in the lower spine, the lumbar. So lordosis, although it is one of the congenital disorders you can be born with, and people are born with lordosis, we have learned that being sedentary, sitting for long periods of time, can also create swayback, create lordosis. Someone who doesn't normally have a bad lower back can have a bad lower back and have the issues that are created from a bad lower back just by sitting too much and sitting too long. I spent 25 years working in the computer training industry. I sat all the time, either working on the computer or driving out to meetings to talk to clients about working on computers, or whatever. I was always sitting, work at home, everywhere. And eventually that caught up to me, as well as the weight. Because when I was 110 pounds heavier than this, all that weight on my lower spine, on my hips, it didn't do me any good. And when you're standing and you're carrying extra weight, that also does things to your ankles, it does things to your knees, you can easily pronate. Put it this way, when the body is carrying more weight than the frame isn't to carry, there are going to be consequences, not just with the endocrine system, not just with your pancreas, saying, oh my God, I'm not going to create the insulin you need to process all of the blood sugars you're putting in. Or your body is just saying, well, I'm going to add on a pound of fat for every 3,500 calories that you consume that you don't burn off. And there's no symptoms to getting heavy. There are no symptoms to getting obese. You don't get a sore throat or a runny nose or coughing, sneezing, a fever. There is no symptoms to becoming overweight. The only thing that may happen is you move towards diabetes and then you start getting the symptoms of diabetes. That's what happened to me. Sia's joined us. Seriously, guys, hit me up with any questions. They don't have to be on health training. Hey, Mia, how's it going? So anyhow, doing some stretching. You guys hit me up with some questions, truly. Anything you want to hit me up with, I'll answer. And there are no dumb questions. Hey, cowboy. Seriously, there are no dumb questions. In fact, the only dumb questions are the ones that you don't ask. Now, of course, you can always make up a dumb question. But if you've got a serious question you want to ask, or something that you want to discuss, hey, hit me. That's why I'm here. Otherwise, you can just take a look at Zeke. Mr. Comfortable over here. Hey, Zeke. What's going on, buddy? Huh? Oh, talk about your... It's a dog's life. Huh? Bookends? Yeah? You guys have dogs? Anybody? Oh. This little guy gets a prolapsed third eyelid. He's got conjunctivitis. All it is his third eyelid pops out, and all I do is rub it back into place. Huh, Mr. Face? Clean your dog's eyes. They don't have thumbs, you know. They get eye schmutz just like we do. Huh. They appreciate it, right? All my monsters are rescues. Anybody out there have a rescue dog or cat or any kind of rescue animal? Okay, you guys, if you're sitting down, stand up. How about helping me with some toe touches? How's that for a great idea? I'd like to back you up a little bit so you guys get a better view. There, a little bit further back there, so maybe move you down a little bit too. I'm not that thrilled with this Logitech camera. Even though I can move it around and it's handy, I don't think it's that great a, here, you guys gonna get dizzy on this one. Here, I'll move you up here. Let's see what happens. Here, I'm gonna put you up on right here. You guys getting dizzy yet? What do you think? Should we play some Lie Swatter? Y'all getting dizzy over there yet? I'm working on it. Let's see. How about we go back over here? We go. These portable cameras are fun, but don't always cooperate with what you want to do. Alright, there, you're back in place. Anyhow, hit me up with some questions, you guys. You guys are making my day way too easy. Without at least something you guys want to ask me. I prefer a little interaction, y'all. What's up, smiley face? Smart Schleck. What's going on, you guys? Challenge me. Seriously. You guys look on my wall. Go ahead, take a look on my wall. Yeah, my discussion wall. I put a picture on there for me at 252 pounds. In fact, I will show you. I keep this on purpose, y'all. That is me at 252 pounds. Now, remember, not only was I 252 pounds, I was also smoking cigarettes. 31 years, cigarette smoker. Right? I didn't do myself any favors. You know, when I was 252 at my heaviest, that's when they hit me with type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is nothing to mess around with. You know, once the nerves begin dying in your toes and your fingers and you start losing your eyesight, eventually it's also going to kill you. So if you're one of those people, and right now, out of 324 million Americans, 84 million Americans are pre-diabetic. You with me on this? Right? That's about 1 in 4. It's actually more than 1 in 4. Because out of the 324 million Americans, 30 million of us are already diagnosed. We already know. I know. I'm a type 2 diabetic. I've been diagnosed 13 years ago. 13 years ago this May. So that leaves 294 million Americans who are not currently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. 84 million of those 294 million, more 1 in 4, closer to 1 in 3, are pre-diabetic. That means that your blood sugar, your A1C, is right on the line. Right now, you are in a position where you can either take control, right, and get off of that list, or if you ignore the fact that you are pre-diabetic, and if you don't know, you best find out. Simple blood test. Get in, get your blood test done, talk to your doctor. But if you don't know, find out. But if you're one of those people that are on that pre-diabetes list, that means that you're right on the line, right on the cusp. You have a choice. I mean, it's good news and bad news time, guys. The bad news is if you don't do anything, if you just ignore it, if you just cross your fingers and keep doing what you're doing and hope for the best, that's not going to do. I mean, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Okay? So if you are hit with prediabetes, if your doctor tells you you have prediabetes, or if you suspect that you have prediabetes, first find out. Because if you're on that list, and remember, 84 million Americans, right? Now remember, 216 million Americans currently where I was, either overweight or obese. 2/3 of America. 2/3. So this isn't something that's just happening here and there. This is countrywide, this is globally. And the obesity epidemic is global. 20% of the world population is currently either overweight or obese. But in America, we tend to lead the way in everything, and once again, we lead the way in the obesity epidemic. So 2/3 of America, right now, 2/3 of America is either overweight or obese. Out of those people, I guarantee you that most of the prediabetes are on that list of the people that need to lose weight. Because one of the main things that happens when you gain weight is you're putting all the additional pressure on your internal systems, on your metabolism, on your endocrine system, on your pancreas, to create enough insulin to cover all of the stuff that you're putting into your body, all of the sugars. And of course the obesity crisis coming because we love our junk food. I love junk food. We all love junk food. It tastes good. Saturated fat on the tongue. Just the feel, the buttery feel of a cheeseburger, fried chicken, things that are high saturated fat content, right? That is, it's addicting. It is literally addicting. Take it from a guy who would hit fast food every single day at lunch, who would hit a double quarter pounder with cheese, fries, fillet of fish, and a shake, right? This was regular food for me on a daily basis. You know, Wendy's, McDonald's, Carl's, KFC, it didn't matter. Right? When I was 250 pounds and still smoking cigarettes, do you think I was really concerned about my health at that point? No. Why? I wasn't having anything weird happening. I didn't have any weird symptoms. And the thing about gaining weight and getting heavy, like I said, it's not like getting a flu or a cold. It's not like you're going to suddenly get a sore throat or a headache or whatever. You're not going to get symptoms that make you feel bad for being heavy. In fact, the term fat and happy, that's pretty much me. At 45 years old, I was fat and happy. You know, working in computer training, 250 pounds, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, but I wasn't having any weird symptoms. I felt fine. Sure, I wasn't exercising. I wasn't watching what I was eating other than the fact that I crossed my lips, right? And I paid the price because at 46, just at 46 years old, right, prior to that, turning 46, the 3-4 months prior to that, I was having the strangest symptoms ever. I mean, for me. And I'll relate them to you. Extreme thirst. I could not get enough to drink. Now remember, this is when I was this guy, okay? So you picture me, 252 pounds, right? My waist size at that time was about a 44, 46. I've still got some of the belts from then. So here I am, 45 years old, having these symptoms of extreme thirst. No matter what I drank, I could not drink enough. I mean, just constant. And of course, before being diagnosed with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, I was sugared everything. I was sugared sodas, I put sugar in coffee, sugar in tea. I mean, I was sugared everything. So there I am, extreme thirst. No matter what I drank, soda, water, juice, iced tea, it didn't matter what I drank. I was constantly thirsty. Right? That was the biggest symptom for me that gave me an indication that I might have diabetes. Of course, being in computer training, first thing I did when these symptoms started showing was I, went and searched on the internet. Even back in 2005, there was still plenty of stuff available on the internet to tell me that that was probably my problem. So, and of course, by the time I got in the doctor and, got my blood work done and got, sat down with the doctor, I'm sitting in my doctor's office, and this was May 2005, remember, and this is me at 252 pounds, still smoking cigarettes, and he tells me, right, and I pretty much already knew before I got in there, but he tells me, yes, you have type 2 diabetes mellitus, right? You are a type 2 diabetic, not pre-diabetic. I was full-blown type 2 diabetic at that point. My A1C level and my blood sugars were high enough where I should have probably been in some kind of diabetic coma, let's put it that way. So there I am, 46 years old, just turned 46, sitting in my doctor's office, fat, and well, until then fat and happy, and still smoking my cigarettes. And he tells me, well, you need to make some changes, right? You need to make some changes. If you keep going the way you're going and you don't make some changes, then you can start picking out some toes and fingers that you don't like. Even the ones you do like, because eventually they're going to start cutting them off. Chop, chop, right? And not just your toes, eventually your entire foot. You can lose fingers, you can go blind. What happens with diabetes mellitus, especially the insidious part, the quiet part, is your nerves slowly start dying. You start losing circulation down to your extremities. One of the first signs is if you have hair on your toes now and you think you might be getting diabetes, if that hair starts coming off, that tells you your circulation is dying down there. That means that if you start feeling that numbness and tingling down there, that's long before the burning starts. And the burning pain from diabetic neuropathy is sometimes so intense people cannot bear to live with it. Right? And you can get open foot ulcers, open sores that won't heal on your feet. Right? Yeah, I'm trying to scare you a little bit because if you have diabetes, like me, one of the 30 million of us, right, you know you have to maintain it. You have to stay on top of it. Right? I take 2 types of medications every day for my diabetes, 2 different kinds, and I will the rest of my life. My pancreas is only half alive at this point, per my doctor. But I did that to me. I did that to me. I have nobody that I can point fingers to except for me. I'm the one that got up to 252 pounds. I'm the guy who sat around and didn't do any exercise and really got out of shape. I'm the guy that smoked cigarettes for 31 years. I could have quit any time in that 31-year period I wanted to. And I proved that to myself getting rid of them. July 15, 2005 was my last cigarette, very last cigarette, gone. Have not had one since, and that'll be 13 years this July. Now I help other people quit smoking. I've already helped people quit smoking. I'm pleased to say. The more people that I help quit smoking, the happier I am, because there is no way you can get your health, even start getting your health in order if you still use tobacco. Even if you vape, I don't care. Nicotine is nicotine. The worst is the cigarette, the burning of the cherry, 1200 degrees, and sucking all that hot stuff into your lungs. I got bronchitis every single year, pretty much for the 31 years I smoked cigarettes. Upper respiratory infection. I have not had a case of bronchitis since I got rid of the cigarettes. You think, hello? I think that's a hint. I'm being told somebody has to go outside and go to the bathroom, so I've got to stop right now and take care of a little white monster who says, hey Dad, time for me to go outside. So if you want to hang on and just keep an eye on Zeke for a minute, let me go let Zachary outside. Let's keep an eye on Zeke for a minute. Let Zachary. All right, I'm coming. They really are like children, you know. Whoop. Go. Hurry up. 2 checks. What? You want to go out too? Zeke may follow his little brother here shortly. His older little brother. Anyhow, you guys, you get me starting talking about diabetes and the effects of diabetes and being on that pre-diabetes list. Being on the list of pre-diabetics, and believe me, if it, close to 1 out of 3 Americans, for sure 1 out of 4, but 1 out of 3 of us have pre-diabetes. So that means that you're right on the line. You have the choice at this point. It's a good news, bad news situation. The bad news is if you don't do anything, if you just keep going the way you're going, if you keep the weight on that you have on now, then yeah, you'll become a full-blown type 2 diabetic. Your pancreas will die off, eventually, and you will have to take medication the rest of your life. There was a whole year I had to take needles and stick myself in the stomach, Januvia or Victoza, whichever one it was. But yeah, and at least I was able to get my A1C down lower to get back on oral medication. But the bottom line is, no matter what I do, I will have to use some form of medication to help control my diabetes the rest of my life. If you're pre-diabetic, right, or even if you just step over the line into diabetes, but your pancreas is still fully functional, then you have good news to go with that bad news. Hang on, Zachary's ready. All right, okay, I'm coming. Okay, go. You're welcome. Why don't you come say hi to everybody? Huh? Why don't you come say hello to everybody? What? I'm not going to put you down yet. You got to say hello. That's your penance. That is your penance. You got to say hi to everybody. Interrupting things. Zachary is a 13-year-old chug. That's half Chihuahua, half pug. I rescued him in 2009. He was abandoned at an apartment complex in Whittier and left in that apartment to starve to death, and nearly did when they finally opened the door to get him out of there. All right. Enough. All right. You done? Are you done? Are you finished? He almost drowned in a pool in 2010, and since then, he's had congestion in the morning. 4 or 5 different vets have looked him over, and we haven't been able to stop it, so just a matter of keeping him comfy. But at 13 years old, he's doing pretty good. The last 8 years have definitely been good for him. 9 years almost with us, and Zoe's been with me since 2007. She's a rescue as well as Zeke. He's been with me almost 3 years now, and my 18-year-old tabby cat's been with me since 2002. Any of you that have a copy of Pushing Double Nickels already know how I feel about animals, especially our responsibility for the domestic dogs and cats. We shirk our responsibilities as a society to the point where it's disgusting. I won't be happy till all the kill shelters are closed and all the animal shelters are emptied and all these dogs and cats and other animals are in good homes. And if we have to close down every breeder and puppy mill and pet shop to get it done, then so be it. But bottom line is, dogs, they're our responsibility. We took a perfectly good gray wolf, turned it into everything from a 3-pound Chihuahua to a 200-pound Mastiff, and everything in between. It all comes from a gray wolf. But we did that, humans. Anyhow, hit me up with questions, you guys. I can sit here and talk at you all day long, but I've actually got to get my weights done, and I've got to get my stretching done, because I'm not going to be a very good personal trainer if I can't personally train myself, right? You certainly wouldn't hire me as your health coach or personal trainer if I looked like this still. And remember, this was 50 pounds lighter than I was at my heaviest. This is a little over 200 pounds. I was at 252 pounds at my heaviest. So I know of what I speak. And like I said, the cigarette smoking I did for 31 years didn't help out either. I did not do myself any favors with the cigarettes. So if any of you out there are ready to quit, if you're a smoker, and there's 45 million of you out there, if you're ready to get rid of the cigarettes, and that's got to be up here, it's got to be in here. If you're ready to get rid of the smokes, then I'll help you do it for free. Seriously. Just reach out on any of my links. You know, and in fact, the Pushing Double Nickels Facebook page is probably the quickest, you know, the one that I answer the fastest. And there's 7,000 people on there, and they hit me up with stuff all the time. So that one I got to stay on top of. So you want a quick response from me, just go hit my Facebook page for Pushing Double Nickels and send me a message. All right, or reach out on any of my links. And if you're ready, I will Skype with you. Right? We'll put together a 90-day plan to get you off the cigarettes. Seriously. Now, that's part of my give back this year, besides what I'm doing here on YouNow. As far as I'm concerned, this year is my MLK Day every day, on this platform anyway. If I have the ability to talk to you guys, and most of you guys are millennials, like my 4 kids are millennials, and I expect every one of them, and I tell you and I tell them this also, I expect every millennial to live to 100 plus without diapers, without drooling on yourselves. In other words, fully physically intact and you know, up and running. I expect the next 100-year-olds coming from the millennials to be more like 60-year-olds. Right? Not kidding. I expect 60-year-olds to be more like 40-year-olds, 30-year-olds even. And you can do it. Now, I'm perfectly convinced that 60 can be the new 40. 50 can be the new 30. Right? If it's done right. If you do it right. If you just go on day after day and not caring about anything with your nutrition, your diet, or anything with your exercise. In other words, if you do like I did for 25 years, and you just stuff your face with whatever, and you don't even concern yourself with any kind of exercise or anything to maintain your body, then yeah, you will suffer consequences. Let's look at it like this. The human body is very much like your vehicle, the car that you drive. Okay? If you want that vehicle to work properly, you have to maintain it. You've got to check the tire pressure, you've got to lube, oil, and filter, you've got to check the belts. I mean, the timing has got to be done, the plugs, tune-ups. Bottom line is, every part of that vehicle has to be maintained. And not only that, but that vehicle has to be driven. If you just sit a car in the garage and you don't use it, the battery's going to die. The engine is eventually going to dry up. The seals will dry up and get holes. The bottom line is, if the car is left sitting for a long period of time, it's not going to work properly. And even if it starts, the engine may blow as soon as you get it out on the road. You know, so not only do you have to maintain the vehicle, right? You've got to use it. You've got to literally, and there are times you're going to need to take it out on the freeway and blow the nasty carbon out of there. Right? Best thing to do sometimes with a vehicle is to get it up on the freeway and just drive it for a distance. Just get that engine going. The same thing goes with the human body. One, you have to maintain it naturally. I mean, take care of all the body parts, right? Podiatrist, you need to see your foot doctor, your eye doctor. I mean, all the parts need to be maintained, right, physically, but you also need to use the vehicle. You also need to drive the vehicle for it to stay in proper working order, for it to work properly. If your engine doesn't run, then it's not lubricating itself. And the seals, your engine seals, and they can dry out and blow out eventually. You know, but same thing with your heart. If you're not working your heart, you know, that's a muscle, right? If you're not working that muscle, then yeah, it can atrophy. 640 muscles are in the human body. Every single one of them needs to be exercised. Otherwise, atrophy does set in. Entropy is built into the universe. If you just let things sit, then yeah, they're eventually just going to fall apart. That entropy is natural. The only way we fight entropy is by working against it. Right? Fighting it. You want to fight being sedentary. You want to fight getting obese. You want to fight getting diseases like diabetes, which is one of the most easily avoidable diseases on the planet. Coronary arterial disease, CAD, which kills more Americans than anything else, that is still the leading cause of death in America, is still the most preventable disease we have. I mean, it's crazy. I'm quite convinced if I would have stayed at 252 pounds and gotten bigger probably and kept smoking those cigarettes, right? I don't think I'd be here right now. I think I would have been one of the statistics, right? One of those people that bit it because they weren't taking care of their vehicle. They let the vehicle die. Same thing, your car, your body, it's the same thing. It's your mode of transportation, your way to get around in this incarnation anyway. And remember, the you that's inside that vehicle is separate and different from the physical self. What you see in the mirror is simply your vehicle, your method of getting around, right? And it's just like a lump of clay, right? The human body, much more malleable than your car. Right? Yeah, you don't take care of your car, it'll die. It won't run long. The engine will blow up. You get flats, whatever. You don't do the proper maintenance on your car, it's not going to last. If you don't do the proper maintenance on your body, it's not going to last. Same thing. The person inside, person here and here, you, right? The person that is actually the person you see in the mirror. You look in your eyes, that's you, right? Not always this. But that's you. You're the one who's in charge. You should be the boss of you, not your body. Yes, we all have cravings. We all have issues. We all have reasons other than hunger that we eat on occasion, right? And emotional eating has become quite a bit of an issue, one that I work with regularly as a health coach. As a personal trainer, the scope of practice is very limited. I can help you lose weight. I can help you get in shape. I mean, it's a limited scope of practice as a personal trainer. That was a prerequisite for what I wanted, which was the ACE certified health coach. As a health coach, my scope of practice covers the entire person, not just the physical, not just helping you get back in shape or making sure your BMI is proper and working with all the numbers that I work with people's doctors on. Your BMI, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your A1C, your blood sugars, and I want to know your resting heart rate as your health coach. But beyond the physical, a health coach should be working with you on balancing everything in your life. Not just your diet, not just your exercise, not just the physical numbers that are important to keep you around longer for longevity, but other issues, emotional issues. Are you emotionally balanced? Are you physically balanced? Are you intellectually balanced? What about mentally balanced? And, of course, spiritual. Everybody has a spiritual side. I don't care what religion you are, even if you have a religion. The spiritual part inside of us still needs to be fed, no matter what. So, being a balanced human being encompasses at least these 5 things. The physical, the emotional, the mental, the intellectual, and yes, the spiritual. When you're in balance all the way around with all of those, that's when you're leading a healthier life. No one's perfect, and I don't want anybody to be perfect. In fact, we wouldn't even exist. This universe wouldn't be here had it been started perfectly. Fairly simple. It's a numbers game. When this universe was created, when the Big Bang happened 13.8 billion years ago, right? When this universe was created, it was slightly imperfect. Slightly imperfect. How? Because there's just slightly more matter than there is antimatter. I mean just slightly. 49.9 to 51.1% or less, right? But every single thing that you see in this universe, everything that you see is made of matter. If the universe had been created perfectly balanced, if it had been a perfect universe, 50% matter, 50% antimatter, and that happens all the time in the multiverse, it would immediately come into an existence and immediately gone right back out of existence. Because matter and antimatter, when they meet, they annihilate each other. Nothing. So if it perfectly antimatter and perfectly matter, we wouldn't be here. The universe wouldn't even exist right now. So, due to the fact that our universe is slightly imperfect, okay, we're here. So how in God's name could any of us expect to even try to attain perfection? Perfection is not something that anybody should even consider. Nobody needs to be perfect. Don't even try to be perfect. You are perfect as you are. Yes, you can always get better, and I don't care how you are. You can always get better. I don't care if you're 20 or 100. If you need to lose weight, you can lose weight. If you need to get in shape, you can get in shape. The body is like a lump of clay. You can mold it. Somebody have a question for me here? Welcome, Miss YouNow person. Anyhow, so for me, my goal is to help people understand that no matter where they're at in the path of health, I mean, if they were where I was, at 46, obese, cigarette smoking, completely deconditioned, and hit with type 2 diabetes, I mean, that's way, way down on the health path. And it doesn't matter where you are on the health path or how old you are, right? You can always make changes. You can always make things better. I didn't even become a personal trainer until I was 56. I wanted the health coach certification. Got that 6 months later. So I wouldn't have even been alive and able to do that had I not at least started taking the small steps in 2005, 10 years prior, to do that. If I had not, seriously, type 2 diabetes, when I was hit with that, scared the living daylights out of me. Because I didn't like the idea of losing toes, having toes cut off. I didn't like the idea of having fingers cut off, of going blind, of dying, because I had too much sugar in my system. I will say the doctor scared the living crap out of me when I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And me, I fell back on my inner Marine. I was a Marine in my youth. Went through Camp Pendleton in San Diego, did my tour, got out, got my GI Bill. My father was the lifer. I was just, but I fell back on my inner Marine. Right, so I put myself back through boot camp, starting with getting rid of the cigarettes, and then taking off 110 pounds. Right, literally reforming how I did things. But it didn't happen overnight, and that's something I got to keep reminding you guys. Got a question for me, bud? Loving little, well, how you doing there, loving little G? Glad you could make it. That's something that I try to remind people all the time. We don't get out of shape overnight. We don't get overweight overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't get unhealthy overnight. So in the same vein, don't be looking for quick-term, short solutions. Quick fix solutions are not what you need. When you're overweight, and this was me overweight, just a reminder, when you're overweight or obese, and that was me obese, 252 pounds, this was a little over 200 pounds. When you're overweight or obese, you didn't get that way overnight. That didn't happen overnight. That happens over time. And it's a numbers game, and I can tell you the numbers exactly what they are. We know exactly how we gain weight. It's a simple formula. But when you're overweight, when you're obese, right, that is when you have to understand that it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how out of shape you are. I don't care if you're 20, 80, 100 years old. It doesn't matter. You can take charge. You can start making changes. You don't have to sign up for all these stupid television program commercials you see. The South Beach diets, the Atkins diets, the Weight Watchers. I mean, they're all out there. Marie Osmond has been hawking that same 50 pounds she lost for a decade. Right? Good job, Marie. Would you help people get in shape and quit selling them these stupid diet plans? And they all say the same thing. Lose weight fast. Take off 57 pounds in 20 seconds. I mean, it's absurd. It's literally absurd. And what are you going to do? You're going to sign up for these plans forever? You're going to be a permanent, South Beach diet person for the next 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever number of years you plan to be around? What you need are logical, long-term lifestyle changes. Something that you can implement slowly and over time that's going to help you take off the weight and get you back into shape. It's that simple. And it can be done. I know it can be done. If this old computer IT guy, for 25 years, right, if I could start getting my health in order and start losing weight at 46 years old, and I was still a smoker, if I can take off 110 pounds naturally, slowly, over time, and get rid of the cigarettes. My last cigarette, again, was July 15, 2005, and you bet I remember the last one I had. You do something for 31 years and go cold turkey. I used the gum, the replacement nicotine gum, but still, I mean, the oral gratification, the oral fixation that you have from that. The same thing happens with food. You can get that oral fixation, oral gratification. I mean, it's a shock. It really was a shock because you're doing something for 31 years and suddenly stop. I mean, yeah, it'll get your attention. So I had to make changes, and I had to figure out what I was going to replace things with. And it had to be slow. I couldn't do it overnight. In fact, I can remember the Saturday morning, the very first morning, when I was, still 250 pounds, then my very first morning of not being a smoker, right, cigarette smoker. I can remember, I put the gum in my mouth, I had my morning coffee as usual, right, and I went for a walk. I decided I was going to walk, was going to be my way to exercise. So I can remember that Saturday morning very clearly, right? Putting the gum in my mouth. I can still picture where I went. And I went about a mile. And I was out of breath and out of shape by the time I got back. But I felt better knowing that I was at least starting to do something. I was moving along the path. I was beginning to do something to get my weight under control, get rid of the cigarettes. It was first aid, no more cigarettes, and get my diabetes under control. Because like I said, the thought of having toes cut off and fingers cut off and going blind and eventually dying from type 2 diabetes, I didn't like any of those. And I don't think any of you guys would like that idea either. And if any of you are where I was, please reach out. Ask any questions you want. I will help you. If you don't want to talk to me live in this forum, cool. Send me a message, right? I will help you. Cigarette smokers, I'm helping them for free all year. Anybody wants to get rid of cigarettes, I will help you do it. I guarantee you I will help you do it. If you need to lose weight, you don't need me for that. But you want to hire me for that, I'm worth every freaking penny. Personaltrainingwithbrad.com. Personaltrainingwithbrad.com. You can go sign up. If you fan me here on YouNow, you guys please fan me if you haven't yet. Fan me here on YouNow. That way, one, you're going to know when I'm back on here, yawn at you. And two, anybody who's a fan of me on YouNow, right, if they sign up for any kind of training for me, they get an hour for free. Well, initial consultation, just I'll talk to you first on Skype and figure out if I can help, right, because I'm not going to charge anybody any money if I can't help. But if I can help you lose weight and get in shape, work with lower back pain, help manage your diabetes if you're a full-blown diabetic like me, right? If I can help you with any that's in my scope of practice, my specialties, then I will do so and you get an hour for free above and beyond the initial consultation. And here, anything you want to ask me right now, I'm here for you. That's part of my give back this year, is to make sure that I can help as many of you live as possible every single day. Because I know you're out there. I know you are. When 2/3 of America, 2/3 of America is either overweight or obese right now. I was overweight. I was obese. I know. I've been there. I understand the feeling. Take it from me. I was in absolutely no mood to go walking in anywhere. What do you think of veganism? Well, yes, as far as a health professional, I'm an ACE certified health coach. So that makes me about as professional as it gets on the health coaching end. ACE, the American Council on Exercise, does certify us as personal trainers, health coaches. There's a whole range of certifications under ACE, the American Council on Exercise. As a health coach, my goal is to bring the entire individual into balance. Not just your weight, but everything. Physically, emotionally, intellectually, mentally, and spiritually, the whole person into balance. Vegans. Now, you can do vegans. I mean, you want to be a vegetarian, that's fine. The only thing you need to be careful of is to make sure you get the proper balance to get all the complete proteins that your body needs. Years past, they would say, oh, you can't be a vegetarian and still have a proper balanced diet. No, it's absolutely wrong. You want to avoid eating meat, that's fine. Just make certain, and I would work with a nutritionist, make absolutely certain that the balance you're getting on a weekly basis, monthly basis, in your vegetarian diet covers everything that you need as far as your proteins and your carbs. And I mean, yes, vegetarians can be very healthy. So I support anything that keeps your body mass index where it should be. What if you fear food? Well, it's funny because I was just working with a lady on here who's an anorexic. And in a way, that is also a type of fear of food. If you're one of those individuals who's currently working with an issue like anorexia or bulimia, any emotional type of eating disorders, first and foremost, you need to make certain that you're getting your annual physical with your primary care physician. You need to make certain that whatever you're doing, we are keeping you as healthy as possible while you're dealing with that disorder. And you will get beyond that, I promise you. It takes time, but you will get beyond that. But at the same time, you need to make certain you're working with the proper professionals, starting with your primary care physician, right? Make sure you're getting your labs done, make sure we're on top of everything, and of the specialists. Your primary care physician, if not already, will be sending you to specialists that you can work with on these eating disorders, right? I work on that all the time. As a health coach, one of the things that my specialties is emotional eating disorder. And a lot of people have it. You know, that's why it's called comfort food. But for the people that are on the other end of the spectrum, and there's plenty out there still, right? Your anorexics, bulimics, and people that have issues with food like that, you can overcome those disorders. I mean, you can. Remember, you're the one in charge, right? You know, it's your body. You're the boss. So you're the boss of you, and the sooner you remind yourself that you're the boss of you, then you can better have control over them. I hope that helped answer that question a bit. But you know, fear of food is definitely something that you need to work with your professional doctors on. As a health coach, I can work with you only up to a certain level on that. I am not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a trained doctor for that particular disorder. In general, I help people with that, but I highly, highly recommend that you work with your medical professionals on this, your specialists especially. I work very closely with people's doctors. As an ACE-certified health coach, I'm fully HIPAA regulated. That means that anybody who's under ACE, the American Council on Exercise, any of our certified people, we follow all the same HIPAA regulations that doctors and nurses do. So anything that goes on between me and my clients, conversations, emails, Skyping, it doesn't matter. Anything that goes on between me and my clients is strictly confidential. The same when they put me in touch and have me work with their doctors. Because quite often I will work directly with their physician if they've been diagnosed with diabetes, if they have any of those numbers that are out of line and they want me to work with their doctor to find out, all right, their doctor's telling me this is exactly what I want to get out of this person. Here's their current BMI. They're on blood pressure medication. They may or may not be taking cholesterol medication. I want to know all the numbers so that I can put together a proper healthy living plan for that individual based on nutrition and activity. Staying healthy is a fairly simple thing. And overall, I mean, we're not talking about difficulty here. 75% of the concentration that you need to put in to be balanced and healthy as a human being is your nutrition. 75% of the time you spend is watching what you're eating, right? Now remember, I know darn well you're not going to suddenly stop eating junk food. I know darn well you're not going to run out to the store tomorrow and start buying rice cakes and salads. Let's be realistic. You haven't spent however long it took you to get where I used to be, if you are. You didn't get that way overnight, and you certainly didn't get that way because you were overeating too much health food, okay? And it's true, I don't care what food you're eating, if you're overeating, you're going to gain weight. That's simple. If you are putting in more calories into your body than you are burning off, all right? In other words, you're consuming more calories than you're burning off, then you're going to gain weight. Very simple. The math is easy. Every 3,500 calories that go into your body that you don't burn off in some form of exercise or some kind of autonomic function, you know, breathing, just general living, that will turn into 1 pound of fat. Every 3,500 calories that you don't burn off, that you consume, that you eat, turns into 1 pound of fat. Conversely, if you burn off 3,500 calories in exercise activity, that takes off 1 pound of fat. And you go, well, then how do I figure out if on a daily basis I'm going to be gaining weight or losing weight? I mean, it's nice to know that 3,500 calories turns into 1 pound of fat. How do I apply that to me in my life? Okay. Let's take, let's say that you're 250 pounds where I was, all right? Let's say that you're up here, right? At 250 pounds, I was obese. My BMI was 38. Okay? My BMI now is 22. But my BMI was 38. I was 250 pounds, okay? I'm only 5'8", right? Hang on, somebody has a question before I get into this. I want to answer it. I was never fat, but I just hated the way I looked. Well, you know, kid, that's all up here. Literally, that's all up here. Just remember, don't be perfect. Don't even try to be perfect. Appreciate the fact that you're imperfect. We are all imperfect. Don't even strive for perfection. And when you look in the mirror, if you don't like what you see, then make changes until you do. Whether they're physical, change your hair color, use different makeup, whatever you want to do that makes you happier with what you see. Now, if it's not physical, then obviously it's something in here and something in here, in which case that comes down to attitude. And when it comes to changing attitudes, that's something I'm pretty good at, you know, at least working with attitudes. Because for me, being happy is a choice. I mean, happiness starts in here, and it starts every single morning when you wake up. Well, let's look at this, all right? Let me throw something at you. Just, this will sort of kind of make your day if you think about it, in a way. We lose a certain number of people every single day. I mean, just natural, people die every single day. People are born every single day. And it's close to about the same right now. A few more people are dying than are being born, but that changes over time. But every single day, approximately 160,000 Americans pass away. Approximately. From all causes, okay? Now, at night, 90,000 people pass away in their sleep. Each night. 90,000 out of 160. In other words, we have more people that are passing away in that 8-hour period when they're sleeping than the other 16 hours when we're awake. Okay? And I have a theory on this. But before I get to that, let me get to my point. 90,000 people go to sleep every night and don't wake up the next morning. If you're one of the people that does, you know, your eyes pop open, guess what? Everything else beyond that is gravy. Seriously, think about it. You woke up. 90,000 people this morning did not. Tomorrow morning, 90,000 people again will not, etc., etc. Every single day. So, in my opinion, every single day that your eyes open up, you're a step in the right direction. You're already in the positive. You're already moving towards, hey, everything beyond this is gravy. Now remember, attitude, happiness, being happy, right, is an attitude, and it starts by choice internally. Every one of us wake up in the morning, those of us who still do, the 90,000 who don't, RIP. But when you wake up in the morning, first thing, and your eyes pop open, first of all, you should be going, well, thank God, I'm here. So that's a step in the right direction right off the bat. Then you have that choice from that moment. Well, is my day going to be a good day? Is it going to be a bad day? Am I going to be productive? Am I going to be non-productive? Am I going to sit around like a lump and not get anything done? I mean, you have the choice on a daily basis. Every morning when you wake up, the fact that you wake up should be enough to make you smile. Hey, 90,000 people don't. Every morning. They don't. So just the fact you woke up is, you're off and running. So at that point, you decide, is this going to be half full? Is the class going to be half empty? Right. And you do have that choice. The happiness, like I say, happiness starts internally. Right? It is literally a choice. And we all wake up with issues. Every one of us, when we wake up, we all wake up with issues. I wake up with back pain every single day. Sometimes shoulder pain to go with it. Sometimes hip pain to go with it. Hey, osteoarthritis, bursitis. I mean, we all have physical issues. We all have mental issues. When I was still working in the office, there were times when I didn't get along with my boss. There were times when I had issues with coworkers. Clients can be a pain sometimes. When I was in computer training, there are always things. Doesn't matter if they're physical, mental, emotional, whatever. There are always things that are going to bring us down. There are always things that are going to make us unhappy. The point is to not stress about them, to not constantly go over them in our mind. Yes, we will experience difficulties. We will experience pain. Every one of us wakes up with issues. We have that choice, though. Are those issues going to make us grouchy? Are we going to be unhappy about them all day? Or are we going to be positive and try and make things better? Try and make things better up here. Remember, being a happy person can also help lower your blood pressure. Being a positive person can actually make things better in the long run. Being an optimist. There's some real big advantages of being an optimist. In fact, I put a whole chapter in my book on the advantages of being an optimist. Is it okay to skip lunch? Well, that all depends. What are we talking about as far as skipping lunch? Is that skipping lunch all the time? For me, the best way to maintain a healthy blood sugar is to have small meals multiple times during the day. Instead of having 1 or 2 or 3 big meals, having smaller meals to keep your metabolism burning. That's better than having big meals. Skipping lunch, it all depends. If you had a good breakfast and you're going to have a good dinner, if your caloric intake and your exercise levels are good, then skipping lunch once in a while is fine. If you're skipping food when you're hungry, in other words, if you're doing things that are bringing your blood sugars lower than they need to be, or eating too much food where your blood sugars are spiking too high, then you need to be a little more concerned. Occasionally skipping a meal isn't going to hurt anybody. I even say fasting for a day for cleansing on occasion is okay as well. When you're skipping meals constantly to the point where your nutrition is suffering, then you have to worry about it. Occasionally skipping a meal is not going to hurt you. So hopefully that answers your question. And remember, you don't have to necessarily eat something. I've found, and those of you who join me on a regular basis, watch me put together my protein shakes in the morning. And over the years, I've customized them and made them better and changed them. And so now, instead of necessarily munching on something for in the morning for breakfast or even at lunch, I'll make a protein smoothie with all the fruits and spinach and protein powders and all the goody things that go in there to make it good for me and make it taste good. Anyhow, I hope I answered your question on that one. Anybody else have a question? Please hit me up. Is it okay to skip lunch? Yes. All the time. Well, again, I would have to probably work with you and do a 1-week food diary with you to understand your overall nutrition. Telling me that you just skip lunch all the time doesn't give me the full picture. I would need to know what you're eating otherwise during that day. What else is going into your system during that day? Just telling me you're skipping lunch is one thing, but for me to really understand your overall health picture with regards to your nutrition, right, as far as skipping lunch, I'd need to know what you were doing for breakfast. I'd need to know what you were doing for dinners, if you were doing anything for snacks. Are you doing anything as far as multivitamins or anything that your doctor has you taking? A B supplement, for instance, or iron supplement. There are other things I'd need to know the bigger picture to really know whether or not you were being balanced and healthy, and being able to skip lunch really wasn't a big deal for you. Otherwise, if you're not keeping a balance in your nutrition and you're not keeping your balance as far as your activity levels, then yes, sometimes skipping lunch or skipping lunch all the time could be detrimental to you. But until I knew the entire picture, until I have the entire picture of your nutrition and your exercise levels, then it's hard for me to judge. In general, skipping meals once in a while is okay. Skipping meals continually, especially if it's an eating disorder type thing, if you tend to be leaning towards the anorexic or bulimic side, if you are thin now and you're skipping meals, that will concern me. If you're overweight or obese like I was and you're skipping meals, I'm not going to be as concerned. I will be worried about the proper nutrition going into your system. Are you getting the right amount of proteins and carbs and grains and fruits and veggies? Are you getting what you need, your body needs to be healthy? But occasionally skipping a meal, that's not going to really be too bad. All the time? Then we'd need to talk a little bit further. I'd need more information to understand if it was going to be something bad for you. Hey Ashley, what's going on? Hey Joe, what's going on? All the time. Well, you know, Joe, I would highly recommend that you work with your nutritionist, if you have a nutritionist, that you talk with your doctor about it. If you are asking me the question to say, is it okay to skip lunch all the time? I can't give you a yes on that. Right? Not until I see the full picture of your overall health, the overall picture of your nutrition and your activity levels. Being a healthy human being is 75% what you're putting into your body, what food, calories are going in, 75% of what goes in your body, and 25% of your activity levels. That is the formula for being a healthy individual. As a health coach, those are the numbers I push. 75% of your concentration needs to be on what's going into your system, what you're eating, drinking, doesn't matter, snacks. And the other 25%, you can't ignore that formula. You still have to have 25% some form of activity. If you don't want to use the E word for exercise, fine, but some form of activity. And that's where people tend to get really caught up. First I hear, I don't want to start eating cardboard. I don't want to eat salads all the time. I don't like lettuce. I hear that constantly. And I also hear, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to start exercising. I'm not a runner. I hear these things all the time. And I say the exact same thing every single time. Fine. So don't go exercise. Let's find an activity that's going to get your heart rate up to the level I need it for your cardio, for the certain number of times a week required for us to get you back into healthy balance range. All right, let's not call it exercise. Let's not join a gym. Right? Let's figure out what you like to do. Right? You like to go walking? Hey, that's what I do. I'm a power walker. 25 miles a week, 4 miles a day, 4 miles an hour. My resting heart rate is around 60 beats a minute. But if you don't like walking, maybe you're a jogger. Maybe you like to play tennis. Maybe you like to swim. I don't care what you do, as long as you do something that gets your heart rate up to a medium level intensity a certain number of times a week for a certain number of hours per week to get your physical activity level where it needs to be so that it will complement the 75% of time that you're putting into watching your nutrition. And again, I don't expect you're going to suddenly start eating health food overnight. I mean, let's be realistic, guys. Hang on. All right. I am sportive too, ride motocross. Awesome! I used to do a little motocross. I used to race the 125s and the 175s back in the day. Do some pretty mean crossovers. But yeah, being physically active, if you're already a physically active person and you're not overweight, you're not out of shape, then you're already one step ahead of the game. Remember, 2/3 of Americans right now, 2/3, 67% of Americans are either overweight or obese. So there's only 1 out of 3 Americans right now who are not. And if you're one of them, then good. At the same time, you still need to watch your diet as far as the amount of calories you're putting in and the amount of exercise you're getting. Because again, it's a very simple formula, being healthy. 75% of being healthy is your nutrition, watching what goes into your system. And like I said, I know you're not going to start suddenly eating healthy. I know you're not all going to run out to the store and start buying salads and rice cakes and tofu. I know that's not going to happen. What we have to look at is how we can realistically look at helping you lose weight. Realistically. Not short-term diet plans, not diet programs, not buying these food programs, not signing up for Weight Watchers. Hey, Cass. My 18-year-old Tabby wants to come in. Well, maybe she doesn't. Oh, she came up and said hello and walked away. But we need to find a way to get you to the level where 75% of your concentration is not just watching what you eat initially, because that's important, and I am concerned about the quality of the food you put into your body. But I'm realistic enough to know you're not going to stop eating all the food you love. That's not going to happen. Your cupboards aren't going to suddenly be emptied of all the Oreos and cookies and cakes and things that you like to eat. Your refrigerator's not suddenly going to be empty of fried chicken and cold cuts and hot dogs. I mean, you're still going to keep eating what you eat, right? Until you slowly make changes. And it happens over time. Believe me, I know. I still eat all of the things that I used to eat when I was 110 pounds heavier than this, right? I still hit McDonald's every now and then. I still like getting fried chicken. I like cookies. I like cakes. I like all the things that everybody else does because they taste good. The saturated fats, they just roll over on your tongue and they just taste so good. Unfortunately, they also tend to build up that arteriosclerosis, the plaque in our artery walls, that gives us heart attacks and strokes. But I know for sure, as a personal trainer, health coach, I know for sure you're not going to suddenly start eating healthy overnight. It won't happen. So what I need to do, and what you need to do, is to figure out within your current lifestyle how you can get your positive energy balance. That means that you're putting on calories, you're gaining weight. How you can take your positive energy balance and turn it to a negative energy balance. That's the goal. Somebody have a question here? Let me see. I'll make sure I'm staying on top of you guys. I eat healthy sometimes. I go to the gym when I have time and I don't want to be fat. I weigh 108 pounds. Well, actually, 108 pounds is awesome. To me, what I'm more concerned about than your weight, Ashley, is your BMI, your body mass index. Very simple thing to find out. You go to BMI calculator, go to the cdc.gov website, just go Google BMI chart and look at the body mass index calculator. It's a chart, and you put in your height and you look at your weight and you follow it up to the little box, and that will tell you what your BMI is. Now, if your BMI is in the healthy range, okay, then you're fine. You do not need to concern yourself with losing or gaining weight, right? If your BMI is in the healthy range. If your BMI is not in the healthy range, and most Americans right now is not, 2/3 of America, their BMI is way out of range. Mine was 38. And believe me, the BMI of 38 is considered not just obese, but very obese. When I was 250 pounds, my BMI was 38. I was very, very heavy. My BMI is 22 now, just so you know. So go on the BMI calculator, go calculate your body mass index, come back on, you can do it right now, and take 2 seconds. Go find out what your BMI is, and tell me what your BMI is, because that to me is much more important than your weight. Weight is just one of the numbers that I look at, but height and weight are the two numbers that I use and everybody uses, including your doctor during your annual physical, to tell you what your BMI is. And if your BMI is in the healthy range, then awesome. From that point, you know that you don't have to lose or gain weight. BMI 15.9, actually that is quite a bit low. 15.9 is very low. I would be a little bit concerned at a BMI of 15.9. Have you been speaking with your doctor? Have you had eating issues or eating disorders in the past? Have you had anything with issues with trying to gain weight, is my question. Because it sounds to me like you may have more of an issue with trying to gain weight than most of Americans who need to lose weight. And I work with both sides of the fence. Like I say, I'm working with a lady right now who is dealing with anorexia and the issues that are surrounding that. So I would be a little bit concerned. Okay. It is important that you make sure you've got the right weight and you know your right height to put in to get the right number. Because if you don't get the right number, then you can scare yourself. Because, yeah, I would really like to know what the actual BMI is. Anyhow, so the positive energy balance versus a negative energy balance is what I'm trying to get to, you guys. When you are overweight or obese, like I was, and I was both, it all comes down to a matter of you've been putting in too many calories in your body. On a daily or weekly or monthly basis, you've been putting in too many calories, and for every 3,500 calories that you add on, that becomes a pound of fat, okay? So it's a simple matter, math formula to figure out what it's going to take to start losing weight, doing it with some form of a, okay, well let me know, Ashley, 114, do you know the way? Do I know the way for what, Joe? The way to help you start losing weight? Yeah, it's a pretty simple formula, like I said. Let's just take a simple number, all right? Let's say the average 200-pound person, okay? Let's say they're in shape. 200 pounds, they're in shape. They don't need to lose weight, they don't need to gain weight. 200 pounds, that's where they need to be. For them to maintain that 200-pound weight, they have a minimum number of calories that they have to consume on a daily basis to keep the heart beating, the lungs functioning, the brain working, all autonomic functions. There's a certain number of calories that you burn just because of the fact that you exist, okay? For a 200-pound person, that's about 1,900 calories. For me, at 142 pounds, for me it's about 1,300, 1,350 calories. For a 250-pound person, where I was at 250 pounds, for me to stay at 250 pounds, it would have been about 2,400 calories, 2,350, 2,400 calories. All right? So we know what it takes, depending upon your weight, to maintain the weight where you're at. And we know that that 200-pound person that requires 1,900 calories just to stay at 200 pounds, for that person, if they put on an additional, now remember 1,900 calories a day, so we know over a week the total number of calories that they would need to consume, right, just to stay at the weight they're at. For every 3,500 calories that they add on, whether it's on a daily basis or a weekly basis or even if it's just on a month, but for every 3,500 calories additional that they consume, that they don't burn, because remember, the 200-pound person needs about 1,900 calories. So if they went crazy that day and ate 5 double cheeseburgers, watch. Alexa, how many calories are in a McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese?
McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese has 262 calories per 100 grams, 74 calories per ounce. A typical size is an item of MC Donald's double quarter pounder with cheese. which contains 280 grams, 9.88 ounces, of MC Donald's double quarter pounder with cheese, and provides 733 calories.
733 calories for my favorite burger. I love a McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese. I can't help it. It's always been my favorite. 733 calories. Let's just round it up to 750 calories. Okay, now that's just for the double quarter pounder with cheese. That doesn't include, I would get a fillet of fish and I'd get a large fries and a shake. I was probably putting about 1,500 calories, right, per meal every time I hit McDonald's. And remember, at 250 pounds, I needed about 2,400 calories a day just to maintain. But if I were having the double quarter pounder with cheese, right, 750 calories, 2 of those is 1,500 calories, 4 of those is 3,000 calories. So 5 double quarter pounders with cheese over a week, a month, however long it took me to eat those. If I wasn't burning them off, that's going to put on a pound of fat. Pretty simple formula. Every single thing you eat now, doesn't matter if you're in a restaurant or fast food, whatever, they have to list the calories. BMI is 18, a little better, still kind of low. How do I eyeball the food to get accurate calorie count when I'm out? Well, that's the interesting thing, Golika. When you're in a restaurant these days, and when you're in a fast food, or doesn't matter where, the FDA has for the last 5 years been requiring that everything lists the calorie count. You can go pull up a menu, I don't care what restaurant you go to, they need to have the list of calories in the meals that you're consuming. You can go pull up the chart on any fast food place now on the internet. You can go pull up the calorie counts for every single thing that's in everything on the McDonald's menu, everything on Jack in the Box, everything on Carl's. Figuring out the calories, that's the easy part, right? What I normally do when I start somebody, right, in the process, either gaining weight or losing weight, doesn't matter. But I have a food diary that I have people keep. And you can write this down, literally. If you want to write this down and then follow up with me after you've done this for a week, I'll Skype with you and we'll figure out, all right, are you putting calories in? Are you burning them off? We'll figure out what you got to do, right, to get that balance, you know, to get the negative energy burn going as opposed to positive energy burn. It's a very simple thing. And write this down, you guys. Remember, people pay me a lot per hour for this stuff, so I like giving it to you guys for free. I'm not talking politics today there, Ruddy. I need to pay more attention to that. Yeah. Can it get dangerous? What are you talking about, Ashley? Can what get dangerous? Your BMI level? Can it get too low? Yeah, your BMI can get too low or get too high. Right now we have people, their BMI on average is way too high. So yeah, having a too low BMI, that means that you don't have enough body mass that you should have for your frame. You're too thin. Having too high a BMI, that means that you have too much weight for your frame, for your body size. So yeah, and anything that has to do with nutrition, if you're not keeping a balance, can be dangerous. I need to and that's the funny thing, you know, and people really don't understand this. Okay? It doesn't matter if you're eating health food or junk food. Okay? If you're eating health food, it doesn't matter if you're still overeating, right? If you're still putting in 3,500 more calories, right, of health food than you're burning off, you're still going to put on a pound of weight. It's still going to happen, right? Doesn't matter if you're eating tofu all day long. Mind you, you'd have to eat a whole lot of tofu to put on a pound of fat. But point is, whether you're eating health food or junk food, it's irrelevant, right? Every 3,500 calories of whatever that crosses your lips that you don't burn off in some kind of exercise or autonomic function, it's going to turn into a pound of fat. It's a very simple formula, right? So if you write these down, now this is what I have my clients do, and it's mandatory for me to really understand and help them get to the point where we can figure out logically and realistically without them eating rice cakes and salad all the time, because I know it's not going to happen. You need to write down on a daily log, a daily diary, and just get, a regular 3-ring binder and write these things down, because this is what I would want you to keep in a food diary that we would go over at the end of 1 week. Okay? Right? This food diary is going to tell me where we're at as far as negative energy balance, positive energy balance, as well as give me some idea as to what nutrition you're putting into your system. Right? What you eat. Now, this is on a daily basis. Right? Let me answer a question before I give you guys this. Question. How long do you do? 5'7", 5'8", because my height, and I'm not that fat. Well, if your BMI is 18, Ashley, then you are not even close to fat. And what does it go? Have a log. Awesome. Excellent. Well, here's what I have people keep in a food journal for me for 1 week when I first start working with them. I want to know what they ate, and I want them to be specific, right? Did you have something at a restaurant? Did you get something fast food? I want to know what they had. So, say they had a double quarter pounder with cheese from McDonald's. I want them to write that down. Double quarter pounder with cheese from McDonald's. So I want to have them write down what they ate. I want to have them write down when they ate it. What time did you have whatever it was you ate? I want them to write down where they ate it. You'd be surprised at some of the strange places people eat food. Seriously. So what they ate, when they ate it, where they ate it. I want to know if they ate it with somebody. Did you eat your meal with somebody or did you eat alone? And then I want to know why you ate what you ate. Okay? Now this is important. Really important. Because more and more I'm finding people are not necessarily eating because they're hungry. More and more I'm finding people are eating for other reasons. And they could be anything. It could be emotional. It could be stress. I mean, just general, oh my God, I feel like munching on something. They're not even hungry. They just feel like eating. Okay? So I want to know what you ate, right? The amount, how much you ate, what you ate, specific as possible. And where it came from, if it was out of a box or, was it from McDonald's? Did you get it in a restaurant? Did you cook it at home? I want to be as detailed about what you ate as possible. I want to know what time you ate it, when you ate what you ate. I want to know where you ate it. Did you eat it at home? Did you eat it in the office? Did you eat it in your car? I want to know where you ate it. I want to know who you ate it with, if anybody. And that doesn't matter if it's office or family. It doesn't matter who you ate it, if you ate it with somebody. And then lastly, I want to know why you ate it. Whatever it was, or drank it. Those are the 5 things that I want to know. Every single thing that crosses your lips for an entire week. And put it on, just use a regular binder. It doesn't matter. You can use a log or binder. You can use just a piece of paper. It doesn't matter to me. The bottom line is, I want to know, and I want you to know. Because you really will surprise yourself at the end of that week once you review it. Now remember, don't suddenly turn into a health nut because I'm asking you to do a food diary. Don't tell me that you had a salad for lunch one day that week when you hadn't had a salad for lunch in 6 months. Right? For me, unless you're honest, and I mean 100% honest, don't lie to me, because then you're just lying to yourself. Then you're not doing me any harm. You're doing yourself more harm. Right? If you suddenly turn into a health nut for the 1 week that I want to know what you're eating and drinking. So I want to know everything. I don't care if you stopped at Starbucks for a latte. I don't care if you hit the snack machine in the office for some pretzels. Everything that crosses your lips for 1 week. 24 hours. Everything. And everything that you do activity-wise the exact same day. Okay? So, one day, Monday, I will know everything you consumed that Monday. Everything that went into your system. Everything that crossed your lips. Whether it's a beverage, whether it's food, doesn't matter. Everything. And I'm going to want to know, what kind of activities did you do that day? Okay, you may not be exercising at all, but did you go walk the mall? Did you take your dog for a walk? Did you do anything that got you off your butt that I could somehow count as some form of exercise? Anything. Any kind of activity, right? So we're keeping the food diary for a week every day, everything that goes in. We're keeping an activity log, so I'll know everything you ate, drank, everything that went into your body that day, and anything and everything that you possibly did that I could count as burning some kind of calories that day. And then we do that for a whole week. Honestly, a whole week. And then we'll review it together, right? We'll figure out, okay, well, you had this many calories that went into your system on Monday, this many calories went into your system on Tuesday, and for the whole week, we'll figure out how many calories went into your body. And then we'll go ahead and figure out, all right, well, you burned probably this many calories doing this, and we'll figure out for the entire activity for that week, right? And of course, we already know by your BMI, by your weight, what your daily autonomic calorie requirement is, right? So if when I was obese at 250 pounds, I knew that it was about 2350, 2400 calories a day just to stay at 250 pounds. So it's easy for me to figure out, going through a whole week and adding up all those calories, are you putting on weight or are you losing weight with this current diet that you have? And to me, a diet simply means that what you're eating, not a diet. The connotation of the word diet is bad. I don't want anybody to ever want to go on a diet. Screw diets. Forget short-term weight loss plans. Forget plans for Weight Watchers and meal replacements. It's all ridiculous and absurd. What you have to have is long-term lifestyle changes, slow, steady progress towards health. Getting back to balance. If you're overweight or even underweight, you're out of balance. If you have diabetes, your blood sugars are out of balance. Your blood pressure high, you're out of balance. It doesn't matter what the disorder. And it doesn't matter if that disorder is physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. If you're having a disorder, you're simply out of balance. So my job as a health coach is to bring you more back into balance, to get you back on that balanced path, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, whatever it takes. As a health coach, and the scope of practice, like I say, for a health coach is 10 times that of a personal trainer, which is why I wanted to get the personal trainer was prerequisite. Yeah, as a personal trainer, I can motivate you and work you out and help you lose weight, and it's a limited scope of practice. As a health coach, that hits my specialties. That hits my sweet spots. My specialties are helping people get rid of the cigarettes, the tobacco, helping people get weight, or if they need, gain weight, put on weight. Chronic pain. 100 million Americans suffer back pain. I'm one of them. So I help people deal with chronic pain. People that have to live on over-the-counter medications. Part of the process, or part of the issue that I'm dealing now is the opioid crisis. Because there are many people out there currently who are dealing with this situation. So we have a diabetes crisis, we have an obesity crisis, we have an opioid crisis, all happening right now in America. And these are all part of things that I'm helping with. So for me, I've got 216 possible clients out there. 216 million possible clients out there. 2/3 of America is where I was, either overweight or obese. And 45 million Americans are still smoking cigarettes like I did for 31 freaking years. Yeah, like I said, I didn't do myself any favors. Yeah, somebody got a question for me here? Make sure I'm answering. How to get off the vaping craze? Yeah, well, depends on what you're vaping, Kolika. I'm a firm supporter in the natural herb, and have been since my teenage years. In fact, for me, I use medical marijuana to help me take less pain medication so that I can be more helpful, motivated, and more balanced. The least amount of meds you can take to help the situation you're in, whether it's for pain, diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, the less amount of over-the-counter medications that you can take, the better. So something natural like, marijuana, I support. If you're vaping tobacco, sorry, any nicotine is not good for you. Whether it's vapes, cigarettes, chew, snuff, doesn't matter. Nicotine in and of itself is bad for the human body. And let me remind you, when I smoked cigarettes, And I smoked cigarettes from 15 to 46, 31 years. Almost every single year that I smoked those cigarettes, I would get an upper respiratory infection, bronchitis. Almost every single year from 15 to 46. I got rid of those cigarettes July 15, 2005, and haven't had a bout of bronchitis since. That tells me a lot. One, it tells me that those cigarettes were doing me absolutely no good whatsoever. 13-year-old friend school is very skinny, still only 94 pounds. Well, of course, being underweight, especially for teenagers, the human body does not fully develop, does not finish growing till we're almost 25. Seriously. The prefrontal lobes, the frontal cortex, that is still developing well into your 20s. You're not going to have a fully formed brain until you're nearly 25. Your bones can actually continue growing until you're 25. You can actually continue putting on height until you're 25. So at 13, anybody at 13 who doesn't have a good BMI needs to be working with their doctor, needs to be working with a nutritionist. I am constantly referring people to medical professionals, constantly. Being a certified health coach, I still have a limited scope of practice. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist. So when somebody has issues like that, that they need help with professionally, I've got a whole referral network of awesome people that I work with, doctors and etc., professionals. But at 13 also, the brain is still developing, the body is still developing, everything is still developing at that point. So making sure the proper amount of nutrition is going into the body is extremely important, because at that time the requirements are so much more than when you finish growing. Right? The caloric requirements, the nutrients that are required for proper growth of bones and teeth and everything like that, it's all required. So anybody that is underweight, I don't care if you're under adult age or over adult age, being underweight at any time can be just as dangerous as being overweight. So physically, on the human body, either way can be bad for you. I hope that answers your question. And your friend most definitely should probably get in there and at least get themselves checked. Emphysema, oh my goodness, that's not really good. There you go. Yeah, and that's another issue. I'm absolutely amazed. After 31 years, I didn't wind up with something permanent, physical damage to my lungs. I'm very, very lucky. It takes about 10 years after you quit smoking for your lungs to get back to where they were pre-smoking. So for me, that was about 3 years ago. It'll be 13 years for me shortly. I'm very fortunate that I did not have permanent long-term damage. Mind you, starting smoking at 15, and I had my first cigarette at 13, 14, but at 15 I was a full-time pack-a-day smoker. So I don't know if I may possibly have even stunted my own growth. Who knows? I could have been a 6-foot-pluser if I hadn't started smoking cigarettes. You know, I didn't do myself any favors starting cigarettes at 15 years old. Mind you, peer pressure. We all fall to peer pressure for one thing or another. It happens. And you know who you are, Robert. Still, I didn't have to keep smoking for 31 years. That was on me. Okay? Yeah. I fell to peer pressure at 15, but I did not have smoking for 31 years. So I can only point a finger at me on that one. And as far as your dad suffering the emphysema, hopefully the cigarettes are gone. Unfortunately, there's so many people out there that even after they get hit with lung cancer and emphysema and some of the other, COPD, the chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders, the breathing disorders, they get hit with these, they keep smoking. Keep smoking. I knew a lady had a hole in her neck. She smoked through the hole in her neck. I think that I even saw a commercial on TV one time about that. That scared the daylight out of me. Oh, good. Well, yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, you most definitely talk to your friend. One of the most important things that you can do as a friend is to be there for someone. Because we're all in this together. We're all human beings. We all share 99.5% of the 19,200 chromosomes in the human genetic DNA. Literally, the little things that we use to separate ourselves are absurd. Absolutely absurd. Religion, race, skin color, Republican, Democrat, born in this country, it's absurd. We're all human beings. We all bleed red. We all have the same feelings. We all want to be happy. We all want to have families. They're all the things that human beings want everywhere. So trying to find all the little ways that we find to separate ourselves as human beings are just plain silly. Well, look at it like this. Okay, think about this. If all of a sudden, and this recently just happened, an asteroid or comet came out from behind the sun, which is pretty much our blind spot. But let's say that the same one that was the size that killed the dinosaurs, 3 miles wide, or 3 miles, I forgot how big it was, I think it was about a mile wide, something like that. It was huge, right? Came out from behind the sun. We knew 90 days and it was going to hit the Earth. It could literally wipe out everything on the planet. Gone, all of us, right? 90 days, right? And that can happen, believe me. 5 times already we've had extinction events on this planet. 5 times already things have happened that wiped out most of the life. In fact, very bad one happened about 65,000 years ago that took out a whole lot of the humans and brought us down to a very small pool where we're at now. But 5 times it's happened. It can happen again. It will happen again. In fact, one of my heroes, Professor Hawking, he says, we need to get humans off this planet. We need to go other places because eventually, we're in a pinball gallery, in this universe. Eventually, something is going to get us. Eventually another big asteroid or comet the size of, the one that wiped out the dinosaurs is going to hit us again. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But let's just suppose, somebody got a question? Food bin. Well, the point I'm trying to make, okay, if we suddenly found out that an asteroid or comet was coming our way, going to wipe out the planet, right? There's nothing we could really do, all right? NASA and JPL, everybody would be going nuts trying to figure out what we could do about it. But let's just say that, it was coming. Everybody knew it was coming. At that moment, would it be really important whether or not your neighbor was a Protestant or Catholic or Muslim or Jew? Would it really matter if all the little things that we use to separate ourselves, all those things would become trivial? Absolutely trivial. Nobody would really care. Country boundaries, state boundaries, city boundaries, nobody at that point would really care. Because we would all be going, we're all on this ship together. If this ship goes down, we're all going down together, every one of us. When that asteroid hits, the people in this part of the world aren't going to be saved, or the people that believe this aren't going to be saved, or the people of this skin color aren't going to be saved, or are going to be saved. We're all in this together. Every last man, jack, one of us. We are all on this little blue ship called Earth. And if we get wiped out, if the planet gets wiped out, we're all going down with it. So, as far as I'm concerned, we need to take the time now to start thinking along these lines. We need to think along the lines of Team Earth. Seriously. We are all shipmates on this planet. This tiny little piece of rock hurtling through the universe at 1,000,000 miles an hour, right? And we are, the local group, this tiny little blue dot, as we call it, this itty-bitty little rock in this tiny little obscure spiral arm of a fairly large but still fairly obscure galaxy, right? We ain't nothing special out here, so any day one of those little pinballs could come along and wipe us out. So we need to start thinking about this now as one team. Seriously, we're all in this together. We're all on this ship. You know, just because if the front of the ship goes down under the water, guess what? The back of the ship's going to go down with it. All right? So if one part of the planet gets wiped out by a monstrous asteroid, the entire planet is going to get wiped out. So we're all in this together. And the sooner we start thinking that way, and the sooner we start acting that way, the better things are going to be overall. I mean, right now it's absolutely insane, all the different things that we use to separate ourselves, to put differences between us. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, at least in my opinion. Then again, I've lived all over this planet. I've met pretty much every culture there is. I'm a former military brat, so I've lived all over the United States, all over Europe. I was a Marine stationed all over Southeast Asia and Japan. I have met many cultures, many races, many people, every ethnicity, every religion, every race, every creed, every color. And I have yet to find a single person on this planet who isn't human. You know, all have the same feelings. They all want to be happy. We all want to have families and friends. You know, we all have the same goals, literally. Now we just need to start acting like it. Well, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that. Anyhow, you guys, hit me up with any questions you've got, any issues that you're dealing with, any disorders. 9 o'clock. Well, it's just about time for me to get rocking, you guys. I've been on here for about 2 hours now, yammering at you. Hopefully answering some good questions and bringing us to a little bit more together as a people. And remember, my goal, besides helping people, are helping these guys. Hang on, get them all on there. My big goal this year, and I'm writing book number 2. For those of you that don't already have book number 1, this is on Amazon, Pushing Double Nickels. This was my book to help people. And chapter 1 is quitting smoking. Chapter 2 is losing weight. And you know, I actually put pictures in here of me when I was 252 pounds. But there's also chapters in here on adopting animals and our responsibility for the planet, our responsibility for taking care of these guys. All my dogs are rescues. I've been doing small dog rescue for a long time now. All these guys were rescues with special emotional needs. So I'm going to be finishing my dog book and getting it published hopefully by the end of this year. The first book, the Pushing Double Nickels book, that was to help people. So the book number 2, and that's in the works right now. Book number 2, the working title is All Dogs Cry. I've been doing a lot of research the last 5 years into animal emotions, specifically dog emotions. And I can tell you right now, dogs, cats, most everything domesticated, and anything with a limbic system, which is a mammal, they have feelings and emotions, just like we do. I mean, my dogs will have all the same emotions that I have. The happiness, sadness, depression, elation. I have seen them happy, sad, and all dogs cry tears. I have seen crocodile tears coming out of dogs, both for happy and sad reasons. But there's one emotion that I find that dogs do not share with us. There's one emotion that humans have that I have yet to find in a single dog. And I've had dogs my entire life. From when I was this tall, my first dog was a German Shepherd. My second dog was a teacup Chihuahua. And I've had everything up to a 130-pound Great Dane. They're all the same. They're all emotionally, intellectually about that of a 2-year-old child. Right? They're all the same. But we abandon them in the millions every year. Millions. I'm not going to tell you how many cats and dogs we euthanized last year, but let's just say it was way up there in the millions. It's a heartbreaker to me. We need to take better care of the animals. We need to take better care of ourselves first, naturally. You can't help anyone else until you take care of yourself first. But we need to do a better job taking care of the animals, the other life forms on this planet. Human beings have, not all of them, but a certain percentage of human beings will always find a way to abuse or use anything that walks, swims, flies, or crawls. Seriously. Think about it. And this one drives me crazy. There's a commercial out now for this stuff. They're talking about
You take something to help your brain. You take something to help your stomach. You take something to help your heart. Well, we discovered something in jellyfish.
What do you mean you discovered something in jellyfish? You mean you took a jellyfish and you sliced it up and decided to figure out what was in it? Something tells me the jellyfish wasn't really on board with that. But like I say, humans will find a way to use or abuse anything that walks, swims, flies, or crawls. It's disgusting. We need to do a better job of taking care of the life forms on this planet, especially the ones that we created, like domestic dogs. They wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for us. Heard it's a bunch of crap. Yeah. German Shepherds are awesome. But remember, there's no such thing as a good dog or a bad dog. There's no such thing as an aggressive breed. Right? Inbreeding, of course, can create genetic mutations that can make some dogs aggressive from birth. But there's no such thing as a dog that is born aggressive or a dog that's born as a bad dog. That's a myth. Right? In fact, some of the ones that have the worst reputations, like pit bulls. Did you know a pit bull used to be called a nanny dog? The nanny dog, because they are so good around children. That's what they used to be called. And now, because of reputation, because of humans, because of myths, right? Dogs like pit bulls and Rottweilers and Dobermans and even sometimes Shepherds have a bad reputation as being aggressive breeds. BS. There's no such thing as a bad dog. Bad humans, bad dog parenting, absolutely. And that's rampant. And you will find me constantly going off on people that don't take proper care of their animals. And getting a dog just to put it on a chain and throw it in the backyard, not acceptable. I mean, every dog, I don't care if it's a 3-pound teacup chihuahua or a 150-pound mastiff, they're all the same thing. They all have the intellectual capacity and emotional feelings of about a 2 to 3-year-old child, or any 1 to 3-year-old child. Yeah, there are some geniuses out there, just like with humans, there's some geniuses out there. But in general, every single dog, I don't care how big or how small, I don't care the breed, right? From the moment they come out as a puppy, can be the most loving, affectionate, kind, caring animal on the planet. It all depends on how they're treated and how they're raised. My Great Dane was a 130-pound lap dog. Right? I know pit bulls right now that I walk right up to and I'll kiss them right on the face because I know darn well the dog breed is not what makes them aggressive. It's the training or lack of training or abuse that will make any dog aggressive. And I don't care what the dog is. There was a story not too long ago about this Chihuahua that was terrorizing a whole neighborhood. I think it was in Oklahoma City. But yeah, this Chihuahua, nobody could go outside because this Chihuahua would attack them wherever they went. Like I say, it doesn't matter what the breed of the dog is, right? It depends on how the dog is raised. The same with children, right? I've been through 4 teenagers. I know, right? It all depends on their training. It all depends on how you treat them, how much loving, kindness, and respect and caring that you put into, how much nurturing. I spoil my dogs as much as I spoiled my kids. I love my dogs as much as I love my kids. Any animal that's been in my house, and I've had them all. Everything from rabbits and snakes and birds and dogs and cats and hamsters and gerbils and fish. You name it, I've had it at one time or another. I even had pet scorpions for a time in Arizona. For me, it doesn't matter the life form, right? We're all, do you realize that we share 85% of our DNA with dogs? Somewhere between 80 and 85% of our DNA we share with dogs. We share our DNA we share even more DNA with a lionfish. Go Google it. Seriously, just go anytime you want. Just go Google how much DNA we share with whatever you want to look up. You'd be amazed. Literally everything on this planet we're genetically tied to. We're cousins with literally every life form on this planet to one degree or another. So we can't separate ourselves from each other or anything on this planet any more than we can take ourselves off the planet without some form of transportation to do so. Anyhow, you guys, I'm going to get my mileage done. I need to get my little tushy out the door and go do my 4 miles and get my cardio in. I have a goal this year to get my resting heart rate down to 55 beats a minute, if possible. Normal resting heart rate is anywhere from 60 to 100 beats a minute. Anywhere in between there is normal. So don't think because your heart rate is 80 or 60 or 90, whatever. It's based on the individual, on your current health. Right? So your resting heart rate can be anywhere from 60 to 100 beats a minute. The lower your resting heart rate, the healthier you are. The healthier that your heart is able to pump the blood through your system, working with your cardiopulmonary to make things go through your system more efficiently. So the lower your resting heart rate is, the healthier your heart, the more in shape that muscle is. So for me, I get out and I power walk 6 days a week, 4 miles a day, at about 4 miles an hour. So I'm putting in about 6 hours a week for my cardio. And for anybody over 50, which I am, that's what's recommended, right? At least 1 hour, 5 times a week. So I'm doing more than recommended, but 1 hour, 5 times a week for anybody who is either overweight, needs to lose weight, or is over 50 years old, right? If you're already in shape, right, you don't need to lose weight, then you need 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise 5 times a week. 150 minutes. Power walking, jogging, bicycling, tennis, ping pong, anything that gets your heart moving at a good clip and keeps it that way for 30 minutes, 5 times a week. That's if you're already in shape. If you need to lose weight, then it's got to be an hour, 5 times a week, 300 minutes. Pretty simple. Right? And yeah, I'm not talking about buying a gym membership, the health club membership, because I know you ain't going to go. I didn't go. I had to figure out 150 minutes a week. 150 minutes a week. That's if you are already at weight, if your BMI is in the healthy range, if you're already in shape, right, you don't need to lose weight, then 30 minutes, 5 times a week, 150 minutes. If you need to lose weight, right, or if you're over 50, you need to do 60 minutes, 5 times a week, or double that, 300 minutes. So 150 minutes a week minimum, right? Cardio, getting that heart rate up, right? Medium intensity cardio. If you're already at weight, you're in shape, right? That's your 25% activity that you need. If you need to lose weight, or you're over 50, then you need to do 1 hour, 60 minutes, 5 times a week, 300 minutes. And you just got to find what you like to do. For me, I put on the headset, and I rock out. I've been doing it, I started it almost 13 years ago now, this summer. And for me, you certainly wouldn't consider hiring me as a personal trainer or a health coach if I looked like that still and had a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. You sure wouldn't hire me as a personal trainer or a health coach if I even still looked like this. At 205 pounds, right? If I can't personally train myself successfully, how could anybody else trust me to train, right? That gives me a major advantage over any other personal trainer or health coach. The fact that I've already lost the weight. I already took off 110 pounds. I already got rid of a 31-year cigarette habit. I have my diabetes under control. It is being managed, yes, with medication, but I have it under control. My doctor is happy with my numbers. Or at least I haven't called for my latest labs. And I know what my resting heart rate is. I know my A1C. I know my blood pressure is where it needs to be. My cholesterol numbers are awesome. The numbers that I'm concerned about are the same ones for you, the same ones that I'm concerned about when you meet with your doctor for your annual physical. And your resting heart rate, to me, is the major indication as to how healthy your heart is. So if you don't know what your resting heart rate is, you need to find out. Yeah, I know. Quite a difference, huh? And the funny thing is, when I was in computer training for 25 years, I built up a lot of clients. LA Unified was a client of mine for almost the whole 25 years, and County of LA and Riverside County. You know, here in Southern California, I was an industry icon for computer training from 1988 until 2013. And nationally as well, I did training as far as the East Coast for some places. But people who saw me and knew me back in the days when I was doing computer training, the last time a lot of them saw me was when I was big, you know, heavy. Now and then I'll run across someone, or, you know, I'll run across somebody online and I'll Skype with them, and they're like, their eyes will get real big. Brad, is that you? No, really? No, that's not you. Because, yeah, at 110 pounds, that's a big difference. I mean, a difference. I mean, especially for somebody who's only 5'8". Right? When I was 252 pounds, like I say, you can see just from the picture, that was a lot of freaking extra weight. So I didn't do myself any favors, you know, getting that big and being a cigarette smoker. It's amazing that I did not wind up with more health issues than I have to deal with now, personally. But again, as a health coach and personal trainer, my first and most important client is me, okay? Because I have to stay on top of things. Yeah, back in the day, I was the guy that loved to pull all the pranks in the office. I was the practical joker. Mind you, there was a whole bunch of us, but yeah, there was a few things I've done that have surprised a few people over the years. It's fun. It really is fun. But the nice thing now is I have people that now come back to me after I've worked with them for a while. For me, I'm a good personal trainer and I'm a good health coach when you don't need me anymore, right? And when I've done my job and I've succeeded, when you're hitting your goals, when you're losing your weight, when you've got rid of the cigarettes, when you're accomplishing what you need to accomplish without me getting on your butt about it, right? Then I feel I'm successful when I create, you know, you and turn you into your own personal trainer, turn you into your own health coach, right? So that by the time I'm done with you, and most of my clients are anywhere from 3 to 6 months, some a little bit longer, but most of my clients are usually, I have them on task and going at about 6 months at the longest. But cigarette smokers, I'll have you done in 90 days. You know, that's free. You want to get rid of the cigarettes? That's my give back, right? I've helped ever since I published the book in 2014. I've been helping people quit smoking free. In fact, if you look on Amazon right now under Pushing Double Nickels, I believe a couple of the reviews on there are people that use the book to quit smoking. So for me, one of the goals that I had for publishing Pushing Double Nickels was, one, help people quit smoking. If I could at least help at least one person quit smoking, at least one person lose weight, at least one person get off the pre-diabetes list, and help as many animals stop being abused and neglected and abandoned as possible. And it weighs heavy on my heart, what goes on. Anyhow, I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me today. I've been yammering at you for the last couple hours, and now I got to get out and get my exercise done, and then I got to get back here and finish the weights that I didn't get started yet because I'm busy talking to you guys. But I'd much rather talk to you and help you guys as much as I can. We're all in this together, and as far as I'm concerned, for me, this is all bonus time. Right? I'm going to be 59 on my next birthday. Right? I'm not a youngster anymore. But I'm convinced if I hadn't made the changes starting at 46 years old, if I hadn't made the changes that I had, I would have probably bit it with a heart attack or a stroke by now. I would not be here talking to you. I'm quite convinced. If I was still 250 plus pounds and I'd still been smoking cigarettes, my heart would have probably exploded long ago, you know, or I would have had a stroke. Something would have got me by now, right? So just the fact that I'm able to be here right now, the fact that my eyes open up on a daily basis each morning, like I said, 90,000 people will go to sleep tonight and not wake up tomorrow morning. 90,000 people. As long as you're not one of them, your day starts off positive. Beyond that, everything is gravy. Think about it. Just fact. Fact of life or fact of death, if you want to look at it that way. Tonight, 90,000 people will go to sleep who will not wake up tomorrow morning. A lot of them will have heart attacks. Many of them will be overweight or obese. I've got a pretty strong theory why we have more people dying in our sleep than during the day. I've got a pretty strong your bed. Thanks, Ashley. I've got a pretty strong opinion as to what causes it, but I'll save that for another day. In the meantime, you guys, if you're sedentary, seriously, if you sit around all the time, please get up. Every 30 minutes, find a reason to get up and stretch. If you sit on the job, like I did, and 25 years working in the computer industry got me up to 250 pounds and completely out of shape. And I spent the entire day sitting around working on my computer and now have permanent lower back damage because of it. If you sit on the job, get up every 30 minutes and stretch. Take a break in the morning, walk around your building, use your lunch hour, 30 minutes of your lunch hour to go take a nice brisk walk. Do something other than stay on your butt all day. Same thing when you get off and go home. You want to watch TV? That's great. Right? Why don't you do it standing up? Why don't you do it while you're doing maybe some calisthenics or some stretching? Find a reason to get up on a daily basis and move. Tell you what, Ashley, if you email me, I'll send you the digital book for free, the ebook, and you can just give it to her. Seriously. Chapter 1 is on quitting the cigarettes. Or you put her in touch with me directly. Just reach out on any of my social links. I'll Skype with her and help her quit the cigarettes. If she's ready. I mean, I can't make her quit smoking. I can't make anybody want to quit smoking. But if they were where I was, ready to get rid of the damn thing, ready to get the monkey off their back, I'll do it for free. So, yeah, I'll send you the ebook, the digital book if you want it. I'll work with her on Skype for free. Just have her reach out or just put her in touch with me at pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com is my email address. That's pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com. Email me or have her email me. I'll help her quit for free. No matter what. You want her to stick around longer? Let's help her get rid of the cigarettes. That's the first step. Everything after that is a positive step in the right direction. But nobody can be healthy or stay healthy if they keep doing cigarettes. Take it from a 31-year cigarette smoker. I know. I wish to God that somebody would have, gotten in my face a little bit more to help me quit back in the day. Got it. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate it, you guys. Hey, if you haven't fanned me yet, go ahead and fan me up. And that way, when I'm on again tomorrow, and I'm trying to get on every day and spend a couple hours talking to everybody. But if you go ahead and fan me up, then that way you'll know when I'm back on. If you haven't hit my Facebook page yet for Pushing Double Nickels, go hit my Facebook page and become a fan over there too. We do a whole lot of stuff on that page as far as animal rights. Most of my 7,000 Facebook fans for Pushing Double Nickels are like me. They're animal lovers. So I tend to post a lot of good stuff about that on Facebook as well. In fact, I put a real cute one on there the other day. You'll like it. Anyhow, you guys, get up, move. Every day is the opportunity to make things better. And just the fact that your eyes open up in the morning, 90,000 people don't. Remember that. You wake up every morning, right? When your eyes open up every morning, hey, you're already in positive territory. Everything after that is gravy. So just remember, as long as your eyes open up in the morning, you can turn it into the best possible day you can. From that moment on, the decision is yours. Is it going to be a good day or a bad day? Just the fact that you woke up means it's a good day. Anyhow, you guys go have a great day in the meantime, and I look forward to seeing all of you again, hopefully here tomorrow. Like I say, if you haven't fanned me up yet, go ahead and do so. And that way when I'm back on here tomorrow, you will know it, and you can come harass me some more. I really enjoy spending time with you guys. Hopefully you've learned at least a little something today. If you have, then I'd appreciate a like and fanning me up. And you guys stay busy, huh? Stay positive, stay busy. And come back on here tomorrow so I can talk to you about some more stuff. You guys have a great day in the meantime. If you have animals, give them hugs for me. And take care. Off and running.